Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. It's delicious. Have to have another sip. Today is Thursday, January 5th, 2023. I have my cute kitty companion here out of camera range, but he's keeping me company for the podcast, the official podcast mascot. Now he's moving. You can see some tail if you're on video. Not that kind of tail, people. This is not that kind of podcast. Ah, there he is. Now he's in the window. And he's headed for my trophy shelf. This could be bad. He's been very playful this morning, Killian. He dragged in this great big cat toy that my nephew, Brett Goldsmith, gave us for Christmas. And it's got this very long tail on it, on the wand so that you can swing it around for the cat to play with. And he dragged it into the bedroom this morning and onto the bed. Powerful kitty. I haven't had a cat who did that since my Maine Coon cat Beamer, who was also orange, kind of like a creamsicle color. Beamer would drag her toy all around the house for us to play with. And she died something like 15 years ago. She died too young. She died of lymphoma when she was 5. That was very sad. So fun to have a kitty who's dragging toys around again. I was realizing as I was doing my sign on that I have no idea what I'm going to talk about today. I'm headed off to Ryder Coffee this morning. I'm noticing I'm very much white in the as I'm looking at myself on the screen. I got my nails done in white, and I'm wearing a white top, and I have my white and gold cup. I think it's the January mode. It is snowy out, not a lot, but snow on the ground. So things are going pretty well with Rogue Familiar. Will I make the deadline for the release date? We don't know. Right now, I have the pre-order set for February 23rd, and I believe that's right. We might as well get our numbers right since I do have this open. Yes, and I would really, really like to get it out in February so that I can have that income. But because that's the funny thing for those of you who may not know, especially Amazon is which is where most of the money comes from, alas. For better or worse, it comes from Amazon. If I have the book release on the 28th, then all the money for the pre-orders and so forth comes in, it comes in 2 months later, but I would get it at the end of April. Whereas if the book comes out on March 1st, a day later, the money comes at the end of May. So it makes a difference when planning the financials. So right now I've release date set for the 23rd, and then I've got a 5-day buffer there if I need it. I may end up needing it. I have not hit 3,000 words a day, but I am amping up what I've been doing, and I'm really happy with that. I've been focusing on writing more words per hour, more average words per hour, and then more words each day as part of my training program to ramp back up to 3,000 words a day. Have to turn off my keyboard so the cat doesn't step on it. There went the tail. Or if he steps on it so it doesn't have dreadful consequences, rather. So yeah, and I've been doing pretty well. I mean, I only wrote 100 words more yesterday than I wrote the day before, but it's more. And right now, all I'm going for is more to try to ease myself back up into production. If I'm able to get back steadily to 3,000 words a day, I may try to bump it up some. I've gotten it up to sustainably 3,300 without having any kind of burnout bounce back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'm past 10,000 words on the book, and it feels like a lot of talking still at this point, but I just may have needed that to work my way into this story, and I can always trim up later. But yeah, I'm getting a feel for the book, uh, and yeah, we'll just sort of see how the rest of the week goes. I've I've done well 5,500 words so far this week, so not astonishing, but also not terrible, given that that's more words than I wrote all of last week. So we're getting there. What else do I have to tell you all? I don't know that I have a lot of stuff. Uh, in the jewelry department, I got this beautiful necklace for Christmas from my folks. It's done by Sasha, who, and I'm sorry, Sasha, I don't remember your last name. I know Sasha sometimes listens. She's a neighbor of my mom's, and she does beautiful jewelry. And isn't this a lovely piece? I really like it. And if you are watching, Sasha, see, I said I had amber earrings that I thought would go well, and look how nicely they go. So that's kind of fun. Yesterday, I blogged for the SFF7 about book clubs, and it was fun to get comments back from some of you readers. I always know you're out there. It's funny because people ask me all the time about the podcast and like ROI on the podcast and who my audience is, right? That's what people are always like. Is it more directed at writers or readers? And I'm like, I am just not that person where I'm going to be all, who is my podcast audience? It's you. You are my podcast audience. Thank you for listening. Delighted to have you here. It's like whoever wants to listen to me blather on over my first cup of coffee of the day is my audience. uh, but people will say, well, I bet it's mostly writers if you're mostly talking about writing and industry. And I say, readers read it too, or readers listen to it too. And probably the blog is slightly different, but uh, it's always fun to hear from you readers. So book clubs are a funny thing because they're almost like this socially engineered thing. It's not, hey, a bunch of us love books and let's get together and talk books. It's become this thing like, well, it reminds me of my mom when she was a young woman and she only went to 1 year of college before she got married. And she was married to an Air Force fighter pilot who was often, gone. And she, of course, did not work. The officers' wives did not work. And there was only so much you could do to fill your days. And she was very much, our family is very much about being self-educated. My grandfather, went to the library and read books to educate himself. And my mom set herself on this course of reading all the great books and um, learning about them and studying them. And I think book clubs have kind of evolved as that sort of thing. And I could be totally wrong. This is off the cuff. I have never done any research on the history of book clubs, but at least the cliche, the stereotype of them is that it is kind of the suburban, middle-aged, maybe younger middle-aged ladies who, get together monthly and drink wine and gossip, and they read a book each month. And I know several people who like stopped going to their book clubs because nobody ever read the book. All anybody ever did was, um, you know, gossip. My personal theory is that the main reason a lot of people didn't read the books is that book clubs choose these books that they don't want to read, right? So it kind of comes back to this, like, are you studying the classics? The classics, it's like you have to say it nasally like that because it's, like the old white guys. Or are you reading it for the, um, for what's fashionable, for what's hip. So like I remember I was in this book club for a little while back when I lived in Laramie, which I joined for entirely mercenary reasons. A couple of gals had invited me, which was nice, but also I was coming out with my first book, my essay collection, and I was trying to get people to read it. So I thought, well, if I join the book club, maybe they'll choose my book and read it. So yes, my book was a book club book because they very kindly read it and discussed it, which was actually fun. I don't know if it was fun for them, it was fun for me. But like one of the books we read was Three Cups of Tea, which later became a subject of controversy. And I want you all to know that when I read that book, I cried bullshit on it. And we actually had a decent argument about it in book club because I thought it read like bullshit. And it turns out later that there was a substantial amount of bullshit involved. And I'm trying to remember what other books we read. We read like this one about these Chinese sisters or friends who exchanged messages on fans. Um, but the book club book is a thing, right? It's like a particular kind of book that they think that like this audience, again, the audience targeting, right? That this audience is going to want to read. And there will be even it comes from the other end of the industry too, because there will be agents who say that um, they want book club type books. Uh, and I have had friends whose editors have asked them, like, well, let's talk about, for your next book, it would be great if you could do a book club book. So it's almost like it's its own genre, right? That book club books are their own genre, and that uh, I don't know, it's incestuous, right? It's this self-feeding cycle where the industry creates book club books, and the book clubs pick these books in order to read the book club books, and madness, madness, I tell you. So that was one of my things, is like the books I want to read, and I read a lot of books. It wasn't a big deal for me to read the book club book because I can read a book in a few days typically. And I'm not a hugely fast reader, but I know a lot of you are reading like a book a day, or so I could fit in reading the book club book amidst all the books that I actually wanted to read. But I don't know, it's like reading books I don't want to read. There's a certain exercise to it, where you discover authors outside your comfort zone. And I always liked reading for the Rita Awards because I would get this stack of like 9 books about now in January, and 9 or 10, and but they would all be romance, but they wouldn't necessarily be the flavor of romance that I liked. And I liked that, reading widely and discovering authors that way. So um, I understand that there are some romance book clubs. My neck is stiff. Sorry about that. Um, and I'd love to hear, how do those work out? Uh, it's fun to be able to talk books with people. And one gal who replied, sorry, Dorinda is texting me with gossip. That's why I keep pausing. But it's really interesting gossip. So we'll see if we have anything I can report back. Okay, she's sending me links on this urgent gossip. So I'm never cutting edge on this podcast. So I'll tell you all about it tomorrow after I've looked it up and done the research. But it's yeah, I don't want to say anything yet because I don't know. I haven't done my due diligence, but it is pretty interesting gossip. Ah, people. And what Dorinda said to me was, she said, "Have you heard about XYZ?" And then she said, "People are fucking insane. People are fucking insane." It's true. There's the what is it? The racing and hunting madden the mind. The and that chasing after money drives people crazy. I'm not quoting very well from the Tao Te Ching, but it's a thing. Um, you know, People can just really tie themselves up in knots chasing the things, right? Chasing the things that they think they need to have. I think that's one reason why, I really focus very much on the story, on creating what I want to create. Uh, it's difficult when you have your passion become monetized, right? When you are, um, I mean, it's what we all want, right? We all want to be able to do the thing we love, to, create the art, um, to live in that space, which, I feel very fortunate that I'm able to do, to make your living doing the thing you love. But there is, as with everything, right, a flip side to it, a shadow side where you are, um, when the thing you love becomes the thing that also puts food on the table, it creates a different set of pressures for it. And, many people, this gossip has to do with an indie author. There's a lot of indie authors who get into it with the idea that they're just going to make money. And they, sort of the widget making, studying all of the strategies and how do I, create the exact thing that will sell really well. Um, there's a lot of push pull there. And in our culture, we don't always talk about making choices for maximum happiness, right? We talk about, uh, accomplishments, visible accomplishments, for other people to admire. But the admiration of other people doesn't feed the heart and soul, right? It's it's a temporary thrill, and like most temporary thrills, it's one that fades very quickly, um, and and then leads you to chase it again. So, finding satisfaction in creating what you want to create is really a huge thing, right? Finding what makes us all satisfied and fulfilled in our own lives. So that was sort of a different podcast today, but that's what you get when I don't really have thoughts. But tomorrow we'll talk about this gossip, right? All right, I'm going to head out to Writer Coffee. I hope you all have a fabulous Thursday, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. You all take care. Bye bye.